Well, guys, if you have been in any Need for Speed related space online today, pretty much, you'll notice that there has been a lot going on. For one, basically all of the official Need for Speed channels revealed that on Thursday, this Thursday, we will be getting a enormous announcement about the next Need for Speed game. Now, there were a couple of weird little things that have since been removed from their online presence, so to speak. One of them was an image, and another one was a couple of little bits and pieces here and there that might lead once again to the game being called Need for Speed Unbound. Now, another clip that was released on Twitter was basically a animation of the new logo backed by a backing track which sounded a lot like the beat to an A$AP Rocky song. But let's go ahead and dive into what all of these things could mean for the next Need for Speed game. Now, the car that was showcased in the now deleted image, which some people expect to be the game's official art, we'll see what that ends up panning out to be, but the focal point of that art was a Mercedes 190E. Now, that Mercedes 190E actually, coincidentally, seemed to closely resemble A$AP Rocky's custom 190E. Now, another interesting aspect of that car is that it was missing part of its rear bumper, but in a stylistic way, as it was part of the body kit, of course. But that got me thinking, will we have the ability in the next Need for Speed game to do full-on bumper deletes? Will we be able to say, well, I don't know, I like the bumper on this car, but I'm kind of trying to make maybe a little bit more of like a drift car, like a drift missile style build. I just want to delete the bumper and have that be that. Will that be a thing? I don't know. That's kind of a little bit of a risky territory to get into with car customization, and I'm sure that it's probably not an aspect of customization that a lot of car manufacturers are the biggest fan of, but I don't know. Let me know in the comment section down below how you guys would feel about a built-in feature within the customization where you were actually able to delete bumpers on a car that you may have just not wanted to have them on. Now, another part of the rumor mill for the next Need for Speed game, so to speak, is that it's going to have a little bit more of potentially a anime feel or theme, or maybe anime-inspired effects. I am curious about this because how far they take it or how well they implement it is going to have a lasting effect on in my opinion, the amount of people that play the game, the amount of replayability the game has, and also whether or not the gameplay actually has a lasting draw that keeps people coming back to it. Now, from what has been circulating around in the community for a little while now, we see that it's kind of going to be focused around, or at least potentially going to be focused around, little effects happening during gameplay. Like, let's say you smash into something in the game, you smash into an object, and then very briefly a weird animation kind of appears on your screen and then goes away. Or like an animation of wings appearing next to your car would appear and then go away. We don't know. Now, none of that is actually confirmed yet, but if that does end up becoming a feature, I would really like it to be something that you can toggle on and off, maybe in the graphics menu or the visual effects menu in the options, say certain effects with a little slider that says on or off, or maybe even a mixture of the two, like on, or maybe only partially on for certain events, or completely off. Now, one overarching theme, though, that I have noticed a lot in the community lately, and I've gone through, scrolled through the comments of these Need for Speed updates on their official channels on places like Facebook and Twitter and Reddit threads and all of these sorts of things, and I've noticed that there are quite a few people that are excited but unsure of what the game's direction is actually going to be, and unsure in a way of, maybe they didn't like the previous two games in the series, or maybe they didn't like certain entries into the series, and so they're apprehensive on whether or not they're going to jump into the game right off the bat. They're like, well, I don't really know the direction of this yet, so I'm not going to let myself get excited about it yet. And I understand that, and I feel that, but I think my excitement for the next game really genuinely overpowers any of that fear. Because let's not forget, the game that I am playing in this video, which is a modified version of Need for Speed Heat, it's Need for Speed Heat on PC running the latest version of the Unite mod. This game was originally released on October 16th, 2019. And if you think about how long ago that was in the grand scheme of how often a lot of games get released today, 2019 was a long time ago, really, for a lot of things, and especially especially in gaming, certain things have come so far between 2019 and now. And then when you think about the fact that this game has potentially been in development for one of the longest periods of time out of any game in the Need for Speed series, I think for me, that also raises my expectations even more, because it not only does it raise my expectations, but it also raises my excitement levels, because, like, how can you not, as a longtime fan of this series, as someone who started playing Need for Speed with Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and I don't mean Hot Pursuit 2, I mean Hot Pursuit, the original Need for Speed Hot Pursuit from 1998, as someone that has been playing the games in this series for this long, and for one, you have to applaud the series for the fact that, like, it is still here and it is still generating so much hype. Like, this game is, in my opinion, one of the most anticipated racing games of this entire year, and could potentially create a massive effect within the racing game community this year, really, and for potentially years to come, depending on what the game is like, how it plays, what kind of car list it has, what kind of online and multiplayer features it has, but also what kind of story it has. And that topic in particular is actually where I have a question for you guys, because there are a lot of people that think that the story aspect of a Need for Speed game, that single-player driving experience, is the most important aspect of the game. But you also have a lot of people that are like, no, the most important aspect of the game is the multiplayer aspect, or the most important aspect is like a car meet style, community style multiplayer aspect, or no, the most important aspect is the car customization. And personally, for me, I think the most important features of a Need for Speed game are a massive suite of car customization options, a compelling single-player campaign, followed by fun and engaging multiplayer that you can continue to return to over and over and over and over with your friends. And that's not even to mention the fact that multiple Need for Speed games have had some incredible open world environments, and I really hope that they keep that trend going. Now, I've seen a lot of people out there kind of throughout several different social channels basically saying that they would like to see a larger map. A lot of people saying that the heat map was too small for them, and they didn't really like the way it was laid out. I've been seeing a lot of people saying that they want more of a downtown light-to-light, grid-style city, and, a much more deep city to actually end up exploring. And there's been some rumors surrounding that the idea that the next Need for Speed game could be set in and around Chicago, potentially. But again, that is entirely unconfirmed at this time, and we will have to wait for more information on that front. But doing what they've been doing and changing all of their social media channels to, this main theme, deleting all of the previous photos on their official Need for Speed Instagram, setting a YouTube premiere for 2 days ahead of the actual reveal, they're really, truly trying to hype this up as much as they possibly can. And with all of that hype being generated, with all of that hype being built up ahead of time for what this game could potentially be, I'm really hoping that when it officially drops, or at least when the announcement officially drops, that it is there to back up all of these things that they are really drumming up for it in terms of hype. Because if they drum up all this hype for it, and this game actually hits, and this game is the game that we've been waiting for, the sky is the actual limit. Who knows where this game could end up going, and who knows where the Need for Speed community could take it, because it's also one of the oldest communities on a grand scale in the scheme of racing games today. I mean, if you look at, say, for example, names like Need for Speed, right? Names like Need for Speed have been around since the days of, the original, Test Drive games, for example. Now, when I say Test Drive, I don't mean Test Drive Unlimited. I mean long before Test Drive Unlimited, long before that game was even a thought, right? Now, with a name being around for that long, though, the series has definitely had its fair share of ups and downs, right? And the interesting thing about it, too, is the Need for Speed community is so diverse that you'll get one person that will list their favorite Need for Speed game, and you'll get another person that will hear them say the name of that same game, and they'll go, what do you mean? That was the worst Need for Speed game ever made. And so, when you have a community that is that diverse, it can sometimes be a little bit tricky to figure out what a community like that wants to to see on a grand scale, or at least I can only imagine that it could be a little bit tricky from the developer's perspective. But I am genuinely hopeful for what this game could possibly become, and you guys better believe that I will be tuning in to that reveal on Thursday, because I cannot wait to see where this series goes after Need for Speed Heat. And if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys next time.